Hey, everybody. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to the Boys Crypto Show. Let's get the boo-boos up here. Let's get the big boo-boos going on. And what is going on, everybody? Shout out to everyone in the chat. April, Wanda, Marcel. What's going on, handsome? How you doing? Welcome, everybody, to the Boys Crypto Show. Welcome. We had a massive red day in crypto. Oh my gosh, what happened to Pi Network? That slippage was absolutely nasty. Trading 20% lower than it did just 24 hours ago. Red amongst the market. We were not fooled by this, ladies and gentlemen. We were not fooled. We were saying yesterday on X, likely to be a sell the news event. What do we have here? Donald Trump came out and spoke today. Brad Garlinghouse, Michael Saylor jumping on out in front of the entire world talking about cryptocurrency. But you know what? They did nothing. Absolutely nothing. They repeated everything that was already said. The run-up was absolute hype based on the rumor that something massive was going to come out, and the whales took advantage of that speculation and dumped on the market, baby. Absolutely dumped on it. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. Look at us, all these altcoins down, giving back a lot of the gains that they've had over the past day. So what are our positions right now? Our position, we are short, baby. We are short on Bitcoin. Not going so well. Not going to lie to you guys. Here we are, short on Bitcoin, looking to come out of this bear flag to the downside. We're using the 15-minute and the 200 on the 5 and the 15. We're using the 5 and the 15-minute 200 MAs as our shield. The 15-minute 200 MA fell. It fell, baby. It fell. The 5-minute 200 MA has held up as our shield so far in this trade. Now, it's pretty, you know, it's okay. I'm going to keep this trade open. I'm going to see if we get the reversal here out of the rejection of the 5-minute 200 MA. It looks okay, and we get this dump to the downside. This dump out of a bear flag would be absolutely atrocious for Bitcoin coming back down from once we came, yes, back down to about $81,000. Can we get that move for Bitcoin? We'll dive in, and we are going to see throughout the stream, everybody. We win in front of each other. We lose out of in front of each other. It is what it is. We are all a community here. This is how this trading community works. Woo! And a little bit of that dry UV early, baby. Here we are. So the only positions we took earlier in the day was a very quick scalp short. This was actually crazy, everybody. Take a note of the time here. We made 2.5% in 3 minutes. In less than in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, this trade was open and closed. That's how long this trade was open, for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And I saw a giant red candle that was here earlier on the day. Where were we here? Where were we? Wait. I have no idea where this was. Okay. So this was earlier in the, oh, it was right here. You can see that arrow right here. I saw that big red candle and I was like, all right, I'll take my cash. I'm out. And we made some really quick money very, very quickly. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, it looked very, very good. Let's see if we get this rollover out of this flag to the downside. A little bit of a rising wedge vibe going on. Those also break down 60% of the time. So we'll see what's going on. We've been absolutely crushing this market lately, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to April, Wanda, Lily, what's going on? Reviews, and Michaela B, what is going on? I'm super glad that each and every one of you guys are here with me tonight, sharing me your most precious asset, which is your time, as the Crypto Lifer says. It's a Crypto Lifer. Shout out to the Lifer. A lot of his teachings have come into my trading strategy. Shout out to the Crypto Lifer, Sam Price. Super awesome guy. We're going to start every day. We're going to start today like we do every single day, baby, with Bitcoin, baby, with Bitcoin, the king of assets, the coin that runs this entire market. Let's zoom out and take a look on the daily. Let's clean all this up. Let's see what we're looking at. Here we are again, still battling with this daily 200 MA. We can't seem to get away from this. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have been here for almost 2 weeks after this insane Dumpasaurus here from about 92,000 all the way down to the depths of 76K. Here we are still battling with the daily 200 MA. The bulls do not want to give up. What I do want to note here is look at this on the VRVP. We are building a substantial node cluster right here. We are building a substantial node cluster. Right here, these nodes have been growing. These nodes were absolutely nothing a couple days ago, and now they're growing. They're growing, ladies and gentlemen. Like my older guys, hey, whenever you take that blue chew or Viagra, you're starting to grow. You grow slowly, but you're starting to grow, right? You gap up very, very quickly to this next high volume node up here out of this area of low volume. That's what you're looking for Bitcoin, that squeeze to the upside. That's what we want to see. I was going for this scalp short here. I'm going to leave that open, see if it plays out. I think it can do well. It's utilizing good risk management. Like always, we're using that 5-minute 200 SMA as a shield. We'll see how that plays out for Bitcoin. But here we are, right below. We're right below. We're $100 below the daily 200 SMA. A key resistance Bitcoin needs to close back above, as we did here. But we got absolutely rejected on that sell the news event that we had today. Earlier in the day, Donald Trump, Michael Saylor, Brad Garlinghouse all coming out and saying things that they've said before. It's crazy how these whales use the news to dump on the market. Use that optimism to absolutely wreck the public, right? The retail that is in the space. So that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. Drop your coins in, drop your altcoins, drop your questions, drop your trades, drop anything you guys want to in the chat. We're gonna go over it all with you and break it down level by level. Here we are on Bitcoin on the daily. We need to get end of the day, same thing, different day, right? We need to get above this 200 MA. Flat out. We need to get a full candle body closure above the 200 MA. We have not had that yet, right? We did get a candle body close. We did not get a full candle body closure here or here. Both those lines, the 200 MA did intersect all of these candles right here, with the exception of this one. This was a horrible candle, a lot of fear in the space, but we did end up getting back above, and here we are sitting exactly on the 200 MA. We need to see us break to the upside. I would really like this candle. If this candle can squeeze up, this candle's got to squeeze up. I would love to see a bullish engulfing candle today, obviously. I would love to see a bullish engulfing candle. We do have that daily bullish divergence here on the daily that is still trying to play out here. It is squeezing up, ladies and gentlemen, saying that we're going to break this high before this low, but we're still battling with that daily 200 SMA. We need to get over this in order to have any hope of this bull run to continue. I will tell you this bullish divergence does not play out on the daily. The probability of us coming down and testing a 618, 786 retracement is very, very high, if not almost certain here. We would come down and test this 618 and run in these high volume nodes. This is the area where I would be looking to, hey, you'd have to, if you're looking for a Bitcoin bull run, altcoin bull run, anything like that, Bitcoin needs to catch here. If it does not, that could likely, I hate to say that the bull market could be over, but that would be the sign to me. If we flag out here, drop down this 618, 786, and we don't get that bounce, whoo, it could be nasty to the downside. We lose those high volume nodes. Where are the next ones coming in? Look, zoom on out and look. Where do the next high volume nodes come in? Down here, yes, down here at about 49,000, right? You start breaking these high volume nodes and it could get ugly. It could get very ugly very, very quickly. That is not what we want to see for Bitcoin. So far, so good for Bitcoin. So far, so good. I just want to put that bearish scenario on our radar in case we do get a rejection and a breakdown here. This is the zone where I will be looking the long very heavily, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Whenever we come down here for Bitcoin, I will be taking a long on Ethereum as well, which has shown relative strength here comparatively to Bitcoin over the past 48 hours. We'll dive into Ethereum a little later. Okay, but that's what we're looking at for Bitcoin. We want to avoid that scenario if possible. We want to get this 200 MA to break and this daily bullish divergence to play out, break above this high volume node, and then from there, what we need to do is flip this high volume node that is currently sitting at about 96,000 into support. We do that and bull market is back on, baby. This will be known and it'll go down in the history books right here as an area of massive market manipulation. If it was, we had strategic news, and now this was all news in here. All of this was news. Strategic reserve, tariffs, fear, stock market crashing. Coming up, you know, strategic reserve. What else do we have? We had Bitcoin, or Donald Trump tweeting about Bitcoin and all that kind of all that kind of stuff. ADA, Cardano, XRP, Solana. And now today, just yesterday, this candle today was, you know, everybody speaking at that crypto summit at the White House. Again, so it's been fueled by news, speculation, and hopium, and here we are in this area that you could consider manipulation, right? If we get up above here and flip this to support, this will forever be known as an area of manipulation right here, and that'll go down in the history books, ladies and gentlemen. It really, really will. I still think these are some of the best opportunities for you to jump into some of your favorite projects. Everybody's scared to buy on the red, baby. Well, when we're in extreme fear, which we're not anymore, we're in the fear territory. We'll dive into the fear and greed and see where we're at. But when we're at these areas where people are afraid, starting to get scared, the public's getting scared, the stock market, everybody in fear, that's the time where you want to start loading up. Imagine this. Look at this candle right here. I just want to go back here really quick. Look at this candle. At one point during the day, this candle was full red. This candle was a fully red candle down here. Imagine the fear in the space. I remember this day. This was a massive back on August 5th. Everyone was petrified. Oh, Bitcoin's done out of the head and shoulders to the downside, but we talk about it all the time on this channel. Whales aren't blind. Whales see this. Oh, hey, everybody's gonna be selling their Bitcoin, and I can pick it up here, 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 and here, and reverse the price. That ended up being the best buying opportunity of this year, right down here on this wick, before you went on almost, yes, over a 2x on the biggest crypto asset in the world, all the way up to 100K. That's what the whales did, and they manipulated it in a way to look like that head and shoulders was breaking down. It did, and they caught all those juicy sell orders, and then everybody was, how did I sell at 48K? And now we're already back up, we're back at 82? That doesn't even make sense. That's the mindset of the retail trader. So we're trying to get in the mindset of a whale here and see what the whales are doing here around this daily 200. This was definitely a fearful candle and got brought right back up. So we're going to dive into all our altcoins and everything. That's my analysis on Bitcoin. We got below the daily 200. Not a good sign. We're still battling with it. Same story, different day. We need to get out of this range. We got to get above this daily 200, which is creeping up day by day because we've had so many candle body closures above the daily 200, right? So it's going to keep climbing all the way up until it starts getting that curvature, likely around 90,000 or so. We want to start closing candles above the daily 200 MA. It is imperative for the bull market to continue. So let's dive on into the chat. Shout out to everybody sharing your time here with me. I appreciate you guys. Wanda, what altcoin do I see as the most promising? So Wanda, I do have a video series on the altcoins where I go in and I talk about each individual one. And you know, that's what I do with my time. Like, hey, I like this coin. I'm going to do an analysis on this coin. I'm going to break it down. That's what I do for a lot of my videos. Feel free to check those out. It's a playlist. You can play through all of them and you can see what I think about each individual coin, your favorite coins and everything. I did have one released today talking about Dogecoin, baby. Talking about Dogecoin. So just my thoughts on the project and what the charts are saying to me. And I'm super excited to release that to you guys. Tomorrow, I have an awesome video talking about the 200 MA and why I use it as an indicator. It's just going to be a super awesome video. I'm excited to release that for you guys. But so what altcoin do I see doing the best? You know, it's difficult, Wanda. It's difficult. I think there are going to be winners and losers in this space in this upcoming bull run. All right, I really do. Right, going on over here to total 3. This is your average. This is what the total market cap of all the altcoins is. We drew this box on stream. The box of remembrance. The box where we will remember where we bought the bottom on altcoins. This is the box we will always look back at and will not be moved. Right. In the event we go lower, we'll be like, oh my gosh, remember Boys Crypto, the box of remembrance, how you got absolutely devastated and bent over the barrel and shown the 50 states. Shout out to Horrible Bosses, one of my favorite movies. Yeah, we could say that if we break below, but when we break up here and we're sitting in that $3 trillion, $2.5–3 trillion market cap, we're gonna look at this tiny little box down here and we're gonna be like, this is where the Boys Crypto community was averaging in, baby, and it's likely to happen. I think Bitcoin dominance is so close to topping out, baby. It is so close. Yes, reviews. We'll dive into Doge, man. We'll dive into Doge. Sin Nasty Kid, welcome, man. What's going on? Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you dropping on into the chat. Yeah, Wanda. So I really think the big winners are gonna be real world assets. I think real world assets are going to be a big winner. Ondo, Chainlink, things of that nature. I think the US made in USA coins, if they do get that tax-free incentive, you know, from the White House, from the government, if they do get that, I think those will be the winners, I believe. If made in USA coins, right? Chainlink, I think Ondo's USA too, right? If you don't know what's made in USA, CoinMarketCap did do a cool thing. They made a new area where you could come on over here and you can click top USA coins, and this is why they made the USA coins based off of that announcement. Right after that announcement, hey, USA coins may be tax-free. Speculation. It has all the USA coins here that are based in USA, and you can go down. I think all of these coins will massively outperform if they have tax write-offs, and you don't have to pay taxes on these assets. These things will absolutely blow the gasket, baby. It will. These coins will outperform everything else. Why? You won't pay taxes on them, and they're also awesome projects. I wouldn't be surprised to see a floodgate of money flood into these assets, because if you pay taxes on stocks, you pay taxes whenever whenever you're holding money at anywhere. If you're not going to do it with you pay taxes on real estate, you pay taxes on all sorts of stuff. If you're gonna make cryptos tax-free that are made in the USA to incentivize money to come into this space, these will be some of the hottest assets, I believe, that are gonna perform massively. So yeah, it's hard to say, Wanda. It's hard to say because it really is speculation. We don't know how these altcoins are gonna perform over time. I think Chainlink's a really good bet. Chainlink's I will never sell my Chainlink. Chainlink's one of my longer term holds. I think XRP is gonna do well, right, in the long term. I really do. They just won their lawsuits. Shout out to the XRP army. Hedera, I think HBAR will do well. Sui, I think Sui is very underrated right now. I think it could potentially be the next Solana, the next big like 10x that squeezes in to the top 10. I think Sui's a great play. Just speculation. The coins that I really like, I'm not touching Bitcoin Cash. Litecoin's kind of like an old story. I mean, there's ETFs that could potentially be approved near a really good asset. Ondo, one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite projects in the game. Larry Fink loves it. Real world asset tokenization, getting transactions of government officials on chain, things of that nature, I think are going to be massive. Render for an AI play. These are some big plays that I think are going to massively outperform in this market. Yeah, thank you for the question, Wanda. Thank you for the question. We're going to dive on it. We want to look at Dogecoin. Dogecoin reviews. Yeah, absolutely, man. I did just make a video on that. Feel free to check it out. I go in a little more in depth on Dogecoin. We'll take a look at Doge, baby, the king of the memes. As it stands now, I do have, on this channel, you guys know, everybody who listens to me, I'm not a huge meme guy. I'm not a huge meme fan. With that being said, I do believe Dogecoin's around here to stay. I think there's a couple that are around. I think Dogecoin's staying, Pepe's staying. I think Shiba Inu sticks around. I do think some of the bigger OG memes in the space are not going to die out. They're not. They have too much market cap in order to fizzle out, right? Dogecoin being the OG meme, I think it's going to stick around for a good amount of time, right? I'm not saying I don't think it's going to outperform the market. I really don't. I mean, I could be totally wrong. Dogecoin's outperformed mostly everything, since this bull run up. Since this run up from about 5 cents all the way up to, that's a 10x from the bear market lows right there. Not a lot of altcoins can say that they've done that, right? Very, very true. So Dogecoin here, baby, Dogecoin. So the first thing I want to do when I'm pulling up Dogecoin, I want to take a fib. I want to pull this and see where we sit. From the swing low to the swing high, you're sitting right on the 786. The 786 is a known area of retracement for any asset, whatever it is. It could be a meme coin, it could be a stock, it could be a commodity, it could be gold, it could be silver, it could be whatever. The 786 is such a key area for assets to bounce if you are speculating on them returning to the upside. This is the area of reversion. It happens all the time mathematically. The 6187, most assets like to do a 61 to a 78.6 retracement before continuing to the upside. So here we are sitting right on that for Dogecoin. You're sitting on a high volume node here, and we're looking at the daily, right? So any trades that we put out here, any kind of analysis we do here on Dogecoin is going to take some time to play out, baby. I'm not saying tomorrow. I'm not saying the next day, but I'm saying on the daily, these trades do take a while to play out, right? This was back, we were at the highs here. We're back at the highs 3 months ago. It's going to take some time to get back up here, but right now I'm seeing a falling wedge. This is what a falling wedge to the downside. You could even draw it like this. You can draw it like this here. I actually kind of like that better. You got more touch points in there. Yeah, whenever I'm drawing trend lines, I just try to get as many touches as possible. I really do. Like if you can tweak them however you want, and you are definitely pushing on this upper resistance line that you've had on Dogecoin, marking back to the date January 17th. Can you get a squeeze out of here? I think you definitely can. Why? Well, as I zoom in here on this on this asset, I do see a very, very nice bullish divergence that has formed. Let's clear this up here. A nice bullish divergence that has formed on the Dogecoin chart. You have a swing down in price action here, while you have the swing across on the RSI. That's class B bullish divergence, baby. A swing across in the RSI while you're making an equal low, while you're making a lower low on price action, suggesting that you're gonna break this high up here at 24 cents before you break. Why are those lines red, baby? Come on, we like the green lines now. Too much red on the charts lately. Too much red on the charts lately. Too much red on the charts. We gotta get the green lines. Yeah, so I'm speculating on this bullish divergence playing out, the daily bullish div playing out here. You are a little cooked on the stochastics, but you are starting the curve here on the daily. It is suggesting that we're gonna break that 24 cent level before we break that 14.50 level. A very, very nice risk reward trade here for Dogecoin, taking out a long about where we are. Now, I would look at the smaller time frames for a better entry, but this is a straight 2.5 to 1 risk reward ratio going off of the daily bullish divergence, which is a powerful indicator that we've used time and time again here on this channel to make some of the juiciest trades, in our position history here. Ethereum, the bullish divergence was kicked us up on this 83% trade. Virtuals calling the bottom. We did that earlier this week, or we did this on the 13th. Not too long ago, 7 days ago. Virtuals, we did the same thing. The bottom, we called 157% gains out of that virtual trade, all based off of that daily 200 SMA, baby. All based off of that daily bullish divergence and crossing 200 MAs on the micro time frames. Shout out to all my micro friends out there. But yes, this is what you're looking at for Dogecoin, catching on that high volume node right here. You're looking for a very, very substantial gap up here. You're sitting above the highest volume node, very, very nice. You're likely to range in here a little bit until you flip this area at about 17.1, which is right above us, right? You can flip that to support and you're going to get a nice juicy gap up here to your next high volume node, highly likely. Highly likely, I don't know why I did that. It was just, I couldn't grab my measuring tool. But up to the next high volume node, about 20% gains. Looking to come here for Dogecoin. Looks like it has good squeeze potential to the upside. That's what I'm seeing for Dogecoin here in the near term. I could see Dogecoin turning around here, especially on the macro. You did also bounce. I did see this for Dogecoin while I was doing my analysis. You did get a nice bounce off that weekly 200 SMA. The bulls said, that's enough, baby. We're stopping you here. That 200 MA, that line in the sand. If you wanted to be a little safer, you could even, yeah, your stop's going to be below that. You could take this a little lower than that wick, and that's likely going to these candles are what mark the bottom, right? These tweezer candles, tweezer candles at the bottom. Where is it? Any candle that has a massive wick, they often mark the bottoms, right? So these big wicks that are getting bought up onto an indecision doji candle, and now you're getting the reversal off of daily stochastics that are screaming bullish divergence. It looks good for Dogecoin, baby. I am liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm seeing for Dogecoin. And you guys know I'm not a meme guy, but the charts are screaming. There's some rebound here for Dogecoin, jumping on in and looking likely. That rebound does look likely for Dogecoin. And I think this is one of the big memes that are here to stay and here to stick around. It is the first meme. It is the first official meme. Elon Musk backs it. There's a lot of backing for this thing. There's people that have held Dogecoin since all the way back in, 2017. This thing has been on a monstrous tear when you look out and zoom out on the macro. I think this meme's here to stay. And, there's some things that can be implemented, paying for Teslas, paying for, tips on Twitter, on X, things like that. It does have I'm not saying it has utility, but there are ways that it can be implemented in order to stimulate growth, right? And, maybe burning Dogecoin, things of that nature. But I see a squeeze for this. Going to the upside. You have gaps in the VRVP to support it and a daily bullish divergence. You couldn't ask for more, man. You couldn't ask for more on a reversal. Here we go. Diving on into the chat. That's Dogecoin for you, baby. If you want to dive into a little more, I just dropped a video on it, man. Try and check that out. Michaela B, what's going on? Wanda, we answered your question. Yes, reviews. Hey, hello, Sid Nasty Kid. What's going on? Wanda, of course, thank you. No tax on crypto. There goes my 401k into crypto. Hey, my retirement's going into crypto too, baby. My retirement's in Bitcoin, baby, on I Trust Capital. Super awesome. All right, reviews. Wanda, check top 10 and then filter them to a few that are underpriced at the moment. Hey, good strategy review. Absolutely. Hey, Unreal Designs. Glad you dropped in this chat, man. I appreciate you diving on in. Is Doge now underpriced, boys? Hey, look, I read about Doge. It's the best alt for mining. Yeah, they say it's likely all of them going to mine next alt season. Yeah, so when I think all of these altcoins are underpriced, man. I really do. And if you look at this, you can pull up any altcoin you want. I bet this looks just like Total 3, right? Total 3. You know, all the altcoins are looking, look, this is the exact same chart going back and forth. Does this not look the same to everybody? Right? Boom, 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 boom. We'll get that even. Does that not look the same? It's the exact same. I think all of these altcoins are very, very, very underpriced. Now, in terms of like the overall value for Doge, you know, I don't know. There's a big movement to get Doge to that dollar level. Do I think it could get there? Yeah, I do. I think that it has that massive squeeze potential. I think that you're more likely to get that move quicker on assets that are of lower market cap, right? If you wanted that, you know, it's a 5x from here. That's pretty steep on a meme coin. And what I don't know about Dogecoin is when those people in the top 10, because there's 10 people that own 60% of the supply for Dogecoin. Those 10 people, I don't know them. I don't know what their plan is for selling. I have no idea. But if I was planning on selling Dogecoin, I'm looking at this bearish fib right here, speculating on it being over, right? If I was speculating on it being over, if I was one of those top 10 holders saying, this is it, this is where I'd be looking to get out, this is what I would do. I would be getting out right here, right? Where I would speculate on the next lower high coming in. Traders would start entering shorts and everything and would reverse price to the downside with this gap in the VRVP to support it, especially if you got to squeeze up like you did back here, you know, post-election period. You screamed on Dogecoin, baby, up about 173% in a week. How about the way in a week, baby? Where do you see those kind of gains? Dogecoin, baby, does have the ability to move. I think a lot of these altcoins are underpriced, man. I don't know. You know, talking about the fair value, I think a lot of these altcoins, in my opinion, I think if Ethereum's at $4,000, if Ethereum goes to $4,000, which I believe it will, I believe it'll catch at some point and reverse up to that $4,000 level. That's doubling up its market cap. I think all of these altcoins, even the meme coin, even the top meme coins, Doge, you know, Pepe, Shiba Inu, I think they're going to double in market cap. I don't think that's going to be an issue for these coins once alt season starts, at least, right? At least. So that's when it's going to be in the hands of the public to determine what coins are more valuable than others. And that's why I'm not a huge meme guy, because I know other coins make money, baby, make money. I don't personally hold any Dogecoin, but I think this thing does have legs and it has the ability to squeeze up through this gap in the VRVP out of the daily bullish divergence. I think you can get a squeeze, man. I think it wouldn't be anything for this thing to 3, 4, 5, 8x this bull cycle. I really do. All right, that's what I'm seeing for Dogecoin. All right, baby. Diving on into Sin Nasty Kid. Hey, man, thanks for dropping it in. Kaito going to be the best all of 2025. It could happen, man. Let's dive on into Kaito. K-I-T-O. Kaito, baby. Hey, listen, I will say this about Kaito. If you guys don't know what Kaito is, Kaito is essentially the new Google, baby. The new Google when searching for crypto. It utilizes AI to search for crypto, filters out all the nonsense, all the ads and everything, and gives crypto holders, right, the ability to, and we were speculating on this W, what is this, on the 15-minute? And there you go. You're getting that reversal to the upside. This was yesterday, right? Yeah, this was yesterday when we were streaming. We got that bounce to the upside. Very, very nice. W pattern starting to form here. You could even argue that it's kind of a diamondy right here in this range. A little bit of a diamendo. But yeah, you got that W formation. It's looking good for Kaito. Yeah, Kaito, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's the it's the Google search engine for crypto, right? And it utilizes AI to bring you the research that you want to see and filters everything down in an easy to read format. I think this thing has legs, man. I really do. And especially, let me tell you this, you know when Kaito's gonna moon? I promise you, Kaito looks to moon based off of fundamentals when we enter alt season, because everyone's going to be searching for everything, and those utilizing Kaito, if they get any kind of edge over Google, oh, baby, this thing will rocket shot to the upside. That's speculation, right? It really is. You could even say this is a shoulder, head, right shoulder here, if you guys are seeing this here, including the wick, right? You got the shoulder, the head, and you got the right shoulder forming here. A nice little neckline utilizing the wicks. It does look pretty good here. I'd like to see that wick be a little higher. But yeah, this looks really good for a reversal for Kaito. A lot of these assets do come down from whence they came, right? Do come down from whence they came before going on their meteoric run. You could be looking at some of the best prices you've ever seen and will ever see for Kaito. And if this run is going to continue, if we do get that alt season, I believe Kaito is going to be a massive runner in the space, potentially making its way up into the top 100 if it does steal even a fraction of the share potential of Google, right? Whenever Google's giving out information, if Kaito could take even a 0.001% of that, just 0.001% of that, talking about cryptocurrency, when the masses start getting involved into this, when retail starts really FOMOing in, if Kaito can just accumulate a fraction of the percent of cryptocurrency search volume, this thing is going to absolutely rip faces. I do fundamentally believe that. I really do. I like the project. I did a video on Kaito. Check that out if you guys want a little more in-depth analysis on Kaito, baby, on Kaito. Drop your coins in the chat. Drop your coins in the chat. We're going to look at Bitcoin dominance here, see how that's holding up. Bitcoin dominance, we've talked about this over and over and over on the channel. And why am I saying this stuff about the altcoins? Well, let's zoom on out here. Oh my gosh, this chart is absolutely atrocious. Oh my goodness. What is it? It's like, oh Lord, put it in reverse there. Right, we got that inverse. Let's see on the weekly here. We got that inverse cup and handle. We're not gonna go dive too deep into this because Bitcoin dominance, baby. Bitcoin dominance looks. We've gone over this time and time again on the channel. Inverse cup handle coming up to the 618786. We have a bear div here forming on the weekly. We got that swing down in price action here. Let's zoom on in. We got that swing down in price action while we have a swing up on price action and swing down on the RSI, saying that we are likely to break this low before this high. I think this weekly bear div is what gets us going. I really do. I think this is the top for Bitcoin dominance. I have to say it. We have daily bearish divergence as well. Daily bear div, right? So we got the bearish 618786 daily bearish divergence, swing up on price action. While we have a swing down on the RSI, weekly bearish divergence, swing up on price action right here, and while we have a swing down in the RSI, and we have a inverse cup and handle to the downside, baby, speculating on one of the biggest alt seasons that we've ever seen. And you know what's funny? No one will expect it. Nobody, baby, nobody. This will catch everybody with their pants down. Think about this move here. Did anybody speculate on alt season right here? Right here at this blow off top area right here. Altcoin season happened fast and it caught everybody with their pants down. That's it. I'm telling everybody, this is how I'm putting this trader stamp on it. This is how it'll happen again. When everybody's so bearish on altcoins, oh, that's it, I'm selling my bags, I'm getting Bitcoin. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, why'd I buy my altcoin? And then it'll dump in everybody's face and it'll happen fast. This dump happened in how long? 126 days, 4 months, for a 43% drop in Bitcoin dominance. The altcoins look to scream out of this over 2-year accumulation to the upside in this rising channel here for Bitcoin dominance, or our handle out of the inverse cup and handle looks to reverse. We have the gap in the VRVP to support it, ladies and gentlemen. I am a bear on Bitcoin dominance. All these indicators screaming in my face. I am not gonna look weekly bearish divergence, daily bearish divergence, an inverse cup and handle coming up to the 618786 golden pocket retracement and say, yeah, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. That's to me, I cannot say that. I cannot say we're going to the moon based off of that. No, baby, no. All right, and even here, we did see a little bit of a pump. This was yesterday. Yeah, we got a little bit of a pump in the altcoins. That's what it's going to look like on the daily. I'm telling you guys. Woo! Here on the Boys Crypto channel, we are calling the top for Bitcoin dominance, baby. We are calling the top for Bitcoin dominance based off the bearish div on the daily and the weekly. The inverse cup and handle coming at the 0.618, the 786 golden pocket retracement bearishly. All right, not the altcoin, April. Yeah, absolutely. Gold, baby. Gold and Litecoin coming your way. Kaito looks really good reviews. I'd highly recommend doing your own research. Again, none of this financial advice. This is just my opinions on the market, right? This is just for entertainment purposes only. I hope you guys super enjoy being here. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you diving on in, sharing your time. Litecoin, baby. Litecoin for Wanda. I also did a video on Litecoin. I hit a lot of these altcoins, baby. I really did. I love hitting these. I love hitting the coins and just doing TA every single day. This is what I do, baby. This is what I do, and I love it. So Litecoin, right? Litecoin has been in Chop City. Look at these weekly candles. Look at these weekly candles for Litecoin. You're looking at, I don't see a singular weekly candle that wasn't greater than, look at the 30%, 20%. This one, 20%, probably 20, 13. You know, you had some massive wicks, 31%. Look at this. This is insanity for Litecoin. Litecoin has been on a trip, baby. Litecoin has been on a trip. Why? Because of speculation of the Litecoin ETF being the first to be approved for the ETFs, right? Because Litecoin's a Bitcoin fork, so people were like, oh, yeah, it's definitely going to be the first one approved. It can be approved, and it absolutely mooned. And just in the 3 weeks, it lost 38% of its value, 35% of its value, and now currently sitting below not just the daily, but the weekly 200 SMA. I have to be bearish for Litecoin here. I really do. Now, here is your one saving grace. If you do pull your fib from the swing low to the swing high, you are coming down to that 618. The 618 has held you up. It has not failed you. It has not failed you yet. If you could get back above this weekly 200 SMA and daily, which are hovering right here in the same, you have a lot of resistance right above you, right above your head. You have tons of resistance. That daily 200 SMA, the weekly 200 SMA, daily and the weekly 200 SMA right above you. Let's zoom on out here and see what the VRVP has to say. VRVP, baby. What are you doing? Where are you, Litecoin? VRVP. There we go. So the VRVP is saying you're currently trading above this high volume node right here. You do not want to drop here, or you're likely to come down to the $70 level. What is that in confluence with? Well, that's in confluence with your 786. That would be an area where I'd be interested in a reversal, right? Out of the higher high and the first higher low in the set. You can ignore a lot of those wicks whenever you're looking at this. I just see this as being as heavily manipulated up in this area. Litecoin is just something I can't touch right now. I'm not going to risk it at the 618. I want to be a little more conservative. Get all these longs out of here. Get the 786 retracement and then boom to the upside. That's what I'd be looking at for Litecoin. I would kind of stay away. Out of these last 2 weeks, Litecoin has shown some weakness. It really has. I would just be a little more cautious on this one. And, you know, there's a lot of coins, in my opinion, that are just better in the space. There really are. You could say shoulder, head, right shoulder, break to the upside, but then you fell back below the neckline. This isn't one that I could really get on board with entering at this moment. I think there could be better price. I think the odds of us seeing better prices on Litecoin are relatively high. So I'm going to sit on my hands, Wanda. I'm going to sit on my hands for Litecoin, baby, for Litecoin. Sin Nasty Kid, dude, you're trolling me. Fartcoin, dude. Okay, yeah, Fartcoin. All right, so here we go. Not the altcoin. We are going to go into gold, baby. Gold for April. Let's look at gold. I know April likes gold, baby. I know April likes that gold, baby. The gold. Did your man buy you a lot of gold, April? Does he shower you in those golden gifts on a tear? $3,033 for gold. Where is that? Hitting the all-time high yesterday. Opening up the day a little lower. Where did we get up to? Where did gold get up to? Gold has been on a tear. $3,044. Look at this thing on a massive tear. One of the coolest charts in crypto because it goes back further in time than the stock market. Look at this. It goes all the way back to like 1940 whenever I was born, or before whenever I was born, before some of my parents were born, right? That's crazy. So here we are for gold on a meteoric uptrend. And whenever you see something like this, you need to understand that on the smaller time frames are going to be your friend. What you're looking for gold here is flag outs, flag out, right? You want to flag. And you know, it's the 4-hour 200 SMA has been holding you. You're going to look for some kind of consolidation, some kind of flag, right? Or some kind of retracement, right? You could get some of these on gold. It's tough. It's tough on gold. You could see something like this, a tested 200 MA, right shoulder, back to the upside. That would be very, very healthy for gold. I think gold's going to continue to go on a monstrosity run. I really do believe that. Why? Well, because we have so much uncertainty in the world right now. Whenever there's uncertainty, we go into gold, silver, platinum, plutonium, whatever you guys buy. I don't know about plutonium now. I think that turns your nuts green. But yeah, any kind of rare anything that you could hold and say, hey, I know this is going to have value in the future. You know what you don't know has value in the future? This right here. You do not know if this dollar is going to be as valuable tomorrow as it is today. We know, like I talked about this, one of my favorite dollars I picked up at the thrift store. At the bottom it says you can't find these anymore. In silver, payable to the bearer on demand. No dollar says that anymore because it's not backed by anything, and that's why Bitcoin is my favorite asset in the world, baby, in the world. This trade looking nice, getting that reversal to the downside out of that rising wedge using the 5. This is why we use, this is just a little sidetrack. This is why we use shields whenever we're entering longs or shorts. That 5-minute 200 MA saved this trade, baby. As of right now, it saved the trade. We got above the 15, the 5 stopped it, rejected, back down. Are we below the 15? I'll bet we are. We're below the 15-minute 200 MA, and this trade's trade's looking good, baby. That's why I put my stop losses where I do. I have multiple levels of shields, baby, of Spartacus support or resistance, right? That's gonna hold my trade in play, baby. I put my stop losses where I do for a reason, everybody, for a reason. Back to gold, back to gold. Okay, so what I am seeing on gold, let's go on in here. I do see this on the 2 hour, not looking so hot on, okay, so gold, the hottest asset in the game right now, the hottest asset in the game. Shoulder, head, right shoulder though, rearing its head for gold. Shoulder, head, right shoulder, make it that breakdown here. Why do we like looking at gold? Well, you know, arguably Bitcoin is a better version of gold, right? You know what hasn't been agreeing with that though? The markets lately. The markets are saying they prefer gold over Bitcoin. Very true. Look at Bitcoin or gold at all-time highs. Bitcoin's sitting, you know, 20-30% below its high, more than that, 35% below its high at one point. Yeah, this looks like gold could come for a little bit of a pullback. You know, where's my 21 moving average? I think I did that for the video I was making. We were talking about the 200 MA, baby. The 21. Here we go. Get that on there. Yeah, we're falling below the 21. Let's see if we play 200 MA dominoes to the downside. We are, right? We broke the one. We talk about 200 MA dominoes all the time on this channel. Hey, we broke the 1 minute 200 MA. What does that mean? Everybody could do this. It could be like something like whenever, oh man, yeah, we broke the one. I'll make a little song. I'll make a little chant when it comes to it. I'll show you guys my music skills. You break the 1, you break the 3, you come down, you test the 5, you break the 5, you break the 5, you test the 7, you break the 7, you test the 15, you break the 15. Look at this. They're all in confluence with you. You break the 15, you come to the 30. Where's the 30? Where's the 30? Coming down to the 30 at about $3,024. That's how the 200 MA dominoes works, baby. And maybe the 30-minute catches it and we reverse to the upside. But I am seeing shoulder, head, right shoulder here for gold here in the near term. You may get one last opportunity to get in on this juicy asset, right? You really may be able to. This is a pretty fat gap in the VRVP. Look at that thigh gap, ladies and gentlemen. It's like the lady you can flip upside down. She has a giant thigh gap. Looked like a field goal post that you could kick a truck through. This is the ball rolling down the hill scenario. We lost that high volume node. We're likely to fall through this gap in the VRVP and get stopped somewhere around here, right? Somewhere around here where that next trough comes. If we get over that one, we'll come down to the next area. These are just areas where a lot of gold has exchanged hands, and you can speculate that, hey, we got over this high volume node. Well, if we come down to this next one, this is where the bulls won. So there's still likely buy orders down here that are going to catch the price and at least give it some kind of reaction here and here. This looks like a nice little accumulation box for gold here, and I'll bet that top one. What do you want to bet that top one is associated with some kind of Fibonacci retracement? Oh, look at that. It is, baby, down to the 786 and a bounce there. I would be looking for a 786 retracement on gold, baby, through the gap in the VRVP. Getting in down here, you may get one last chance to get into gold under $3,000. This thing can go on a moonshot mission. Remember this. Even though gold, I don't believe is limited in supply. I think we could, get more off of asteroids and whatever. But as of right now, we're limited to what we have on Earth, right? So this thing, I don't want to say it can do what Bitcoin does, because I don't believe it can. It's not that finite, right? But you do have, you're in a blue skies breakout right now for gold. I don't think there's any reason why we can't come up to $4,000, $5,000 per ounce of gold. I don't think there's a reason we can't. I think gold is going to go on a massive tear, and you know what? It has. And there's nothing in the charts that says this thing won't continue to run. All the way back, ever since we stopped basing the dollar off gold and we printed more money, money's been going into gold, and now gold is 100 times what it was worth like 80 years ago. We traded at what, $35 back here at some point. Oh my God, look at the candles. Look at these candles. You can't even zoom in. Look at the candles. Look at this. It was supposed to be stable, baby. Oh my gosh, $34. Oh my gosh, oh my God, that $20 an ounce. That really got the uvula dry right there. Gold going on a tear, baby. Gold going on a tear. All right, here we go. We generally avoid golden showers. Shout out to you, April. I mean, I'm not really against the golden shower. I know there's a couple people in the myself. Sid Nasty Kid. I don't know. There's a couple other ones. I don't know. I know there's a couple people that would not be against golden showers. So, they could be warm and soothing. You never know. All right, here we go. We want to go in the bounce token for Sin Nasty Kid trying to troll me with the fart coin, dude. I get it. All right, bounce token. Let's dive in on the bounce auction, baby. Look at this. We looked at this the other day, and this talks. Oh my goodness for bounce. I don't know what news event's going on for Bounce, but there has to be something. Things don't just randomly run 200%, right? 233% in the past 2 weeks. What is that? That is monumental. We did say, hey, getting above that 200 MA, bullish, baby. But we also said, hey, likely to have some kind of consolidation. We have not had that yet. We have not had that consolidation. So that's why I can't get in on a long trade without some kind of consolidation here. Because the more overextended you are, what are the odds that this happens? What are the odds? Would this look natural as a chart to continue this? Would that look natural? Does that, I mean, okay, and Bounce, and oh no, I'm not gonna lie, and Bounce tokens history, look at that, it does. But what I do know is the further that this runs out without consolidating, the higher the risk is to getting into any trade. I can't touch Bounce right now. I may on a scalp, right? If you zoom on in the smaller time frames, you know, you can flag these things out and you know, speculate on higher prices. I mean, Bounce definitely been on a tear. Shout out to anybody who's been in Bounce. You know, you can speculate on these symmetrical triangles. You may get a breakdown here, test the 200 MA, form some kind of shoulder, head, right shoulder, and back to the upside. Bounce has been on a miraculous run. Yeah, on the daily, going absolutely insane. Look how overbought you are on the RSI right here. I'm not bearish for Bounce. I think this thing could do some absolute numbers. Once you get things in parabolic runs like this, it's really hard to catch the top. It is. I'm sure people were trying to catch the top here, and here. And that may be what's building short liquidity that's allowing for squeezes to the upside here. But man, Bounce has been on an absolute tear. Eventually, we're going to touch that 21. Going back, eventually you do. Right here, we touch the 20. You're going to come back to the 21 at some point. Right here, 21, 21, 20, 21, 21. You know, get too far from the 21, back above the 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, back below 21, 21. Eventually, you are going to get to the 21-day moving average. It is sitting down here at about $24. That's a 50% retrace. But, you know, the further this arcs to the upside and goes up on this parabolic run, like this is absolutely crazy. Like, eventually you're going to have, I think this will end in some kind of shooting star pattern. I really do. Yeah, it's hard to call. What I would love to see for Bounce, where would I be interested in getting in? I would be interested in getting in on some kind of flag. Some kind of consolidation, some kind of slowdown here. Let's delete this and make this a little nicer. I'll be interested in getting in on some kind of slowdown here, right? On some kind of retracement or some kind of sideways consolidation action. You get some, you know, red candles, couple green, red, and we start coming down here. And then the 21 comes up and meets price action somewhere in here. And then we could rip to the up. That's when I'll be interested in taking a long trade on Bounce, baby. That's when I'll be interested in getting at the bottom of this trend line as the 21 is coming up. You could have a pretty tight stop right there, and you could go for the extrapolated flagpole target. That would be monumental for Bounce if we did. Look at that. That would be beautiful. And the flagpole is huge, baby. It is huge. It would take you another 50% to the upside almost coming in here. And I'm just speculating here. I don't know if Bounce is going to do that. We don't know what the flag is going to look like, but that would be a monstrous move for Bounce of about another 118%. That could be a wrecking ball, baby. That could be a wrecking ball to the upside. That risk reward trade would be really, really juicy too. You're looking at about a 7-1. Those are the trades I like. But right here, I don't have a clean. I'm not saying that we could keep ripping, but if it keeps ripping, it's going to rip without me, baby, because I don't really have anything to go off of here as far as like a good risk reward setup. I know it's hard not chasing green candles. That's one of the things we teach on this channel. Don't chase green candles. If you get in here, not saying you may make some money, it may continue to move. I think the odds are a lot less likely, but what I will say is if you average in here, if you average in at these prices and you get like even if you get like a pullback back to the 21, and that can happen tomorrow, right? Like, look at these candles. Like when you get topped out on any of these assets, the candle that stops you is usually meteoric. We got a candle stop there. It's a 20% move to the downside, right? You know, you moonshotted here and that was a 32% in a day to the downside. It can happen. It can happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but it can happen. And I'm not willing to risk that because anything greater than 3x would get liquidated. It's just not in my risk management area. So here we go. Back to this short. Look at that. Back to break even, baby, using the 15 and the 5-minute 200 SMA as shields as we are here on this beautiful Thursday night, trying to make a little money here, baby, trying to make a little money here. Current account balance, here we go. Let me get the current account balance here. We're almost done with this challenge, everybody. Here we go. Sitting at about $9,365. And you guys know that a lot of this money was made off of only two trades. Two trades, our Ethereum trade and our virtual trade, absolutely ripping to the upside, baby, to the upside. We absolutely ripped on those two trades. All it takes is a really good setup, a really good setup using risk management, a good risk management, and you could turn your entire portfolio around. We were sitting at about $5,000-$6,000, dropped a little under at one point, about 4,700, and we were like, oh crap, that wasn't looking good. 2 trades, turn this thing around. We've been absolutely wrecking this market, baby. It was these two. It was the Ethereum trade here, the Ethereum trade on 14x leverage, and we had this one down here. We've been taking a couple hundreds off the market here. We did have a couple losses, but risk management, everybody, that's the key to making a good, a good portfolio. We took a big one here for Bitcoin on that short, Virtuals long, 157%, and we've just absolutely been banging on this market, baby. And yeah, those were the 2 big trades that really got this account ripping to the upside. It was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah, so we're about at $10,000, and you know what I decided? I was like, hey, we're gonna do another trading challenge. I'm just gonna keep going. Let's see how long it takes for us to turn this account into 100 racks, and we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it in front of you guys here each and every single night. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys being here. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it together, and every trade that I make on this account is posted on X at BOYCECRYPTO102. If you guys want to follow along, give it a shot. Hey, use good risk management with, $10. If you got $10 to spare, I'm not giving financial advice, but hey, use $10. You can go along those Twitter profiles and be like, wow, I would have made money there. I would have made money there. I would have made money there. I would have lost money there. I would have made money there. It's just something fun to do. And if you like my trade setups, go ahead, take a little nibble. I'm not saying no financial advice, obviously, but at least you can see my perspective, and I give a reason why I'm in the trade and a reason why I put my stop losses where I do. It's just how I trade, everybody. It's just how I trade. And I'm excited to just be here and do this with you guys in this journey. It's super awesome. Okay, diving on in. We avoid golden showers. April, absolutely. I don't know, girl. You may be interested in something. You guys ever get so dehydrated your pee looks like silly string? Anybody ever have that happen to them? It was crazy. I was without water when I was on my vacation for a little bit. I ran out of bottled water, and the hot tub, you get in the hot tub and everything, and then you get silly string pee. You guys ever have that? It's crazy. Or it looks like that elephant toothpaste. You ever do that science experiment? I didn't mean to make anybody nauseous, but it was pretty crazy. I might be at risk for kidney stones. I don't know. But here we are on the daily, baby. On the daily, let's check out the biggest winners and the biggest L's, the biggest losers. Whatever happened to the biggest loser? I think that show was super awesome. It got people excited about losing weight, and they could win some money. I thought that was awesome. A great show for everybody, right? But I digress. Okay, here we go. Pi Network taking an absolute kick in the gonads today. Pi Network once at the number 11 spot. What is it at now? Pi Network was once at the number 11 spot, dropping to rank 23, baby. 23. What in the world is happening here? Dropping to rank 23. Pi Network. Let's pull it on up. Pi Network on MEXC coming down, getting that 886 retracement here. Sometimes it catches at the 786. It tried, but altcoins definitely do come down and test that 886 often, more often than not. We almost got a perfect touch there at the 886. Looks like it got a little front ran. There may be a little bit of a reversal here for Pi. Let's zoom on out here. Good night. Not a lot of price data, right? Relatively new project in terms of, when it got released here on TradingView. But yeah, coming down to the 886, I would give this thing some time to mellow out and try to find some footing. I think this thing could do some massive damage. It does give everybody the ability to mine this token on their phone. But with that being said, it does promote that inflationary perspective, right? And I didn't realize when I was making the video for this how much I know. There's some people, I forget what the circulating supply is, but somebody owns a lot of this coin. I should have looked at that before I made that video. But yeah, it's important to know how many people own the top 50%. If it's one person, man, it's hard for me to get behind. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at for Pi Network. An 886 bounce. That's what you're looking for. I just see a doctor on Real Designs, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know. It was all right. It had this odor to it. That's why I got to drink lots of water on stream, man. That's why I do not want that to happen again. I got my water. I got my backup water bottle and everything. That's not happening again. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. Here we go. It was like the Elmer's glue when you squeeze. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with it, man. I'm done with it. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing for Pi. A potential 886 bounce. I would stay away from this from right now. You're a danger coming and testing the lows here at about 59 cents. That's another 50% drop from here. We'll look for signs of reversal like bullish divergence on the daily, but we're not getting that right now. See how we're kind of falling below. I guess you kind of did here. But you got absolutely no reaction. You just capitulated below this high volume node. So you'd be looking for some kind of divergence on the smaller time frames, but so far you're not getting that. So I would wait. I would sit on my hands for Pi. Biggest winner of the day, Kava, baby. Kava. I know absolutely nothing about this project. We're going to dive into the chart and see what is going on. There may be some kind of news events, and boom, baby. Look at that. To the upside for Kava. Look at it on the daily. Ooh, wow. Oh my goodness. Whoa. All right, look at this. This is a beautiful example out of a cup and handle. The cup. This, and a lot of altcoins look like this on the macro, right? They do have a little more slanted action, right? But they're still they look like this right here. This little section here. A lot of altcoins look like this on the daily, right? Coming down very massively to key retracement areas. Where did this come down to on Kava? From swing low to swing high, and you can pull this from a couple different areas. You came down to that golden pocket area, and it held up very, very strong. You could even pull it from here if you wanted to. And yeah, if you pull it from that and from this impulse right here, you came down to where exactly the 786 would have been the golden entry point here, and here. You had 4 opportunities to get in on the 786 for Kava before going on a monumental moonshotter, 43% in just a couple of days here for Kava. You were looking at about 10 days or so for Kava making that 43% move, got back above that daily 200 MA, flipped it to support. You got the golden cross, and boom, baby, to the upside for Kava. Looking very good and really doesn't show any signs of stopping. So what I'd be looking for here is on the smaller time frames. Let's zoom on out here and see. Let's see what's going on for Kava. So I'll be looking at some divergence. So far, you're not getting that. You're not getting any kind of divergence on the 1 hour. What's it looking on the 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour? No, not really any. I mean, you could say this was bearish divergence, but it's been defying it all. It has been defying all bearish divergence here on the 4 hour. Very, very, very bullish sign, right? So here we go. What I'm seeing here is potentially a shoulder, a head, and this potential wider right shoulder here to the upside. That looks like it could break. It may even be breaking right now, and you may get a massive squeeze for Kava to the upside, baby. That could definitely happen. It can happen very, very quickly based on this gap in the VRVP. Let's pull this up here. Let's zoom on out and get the full price action here. Let this VRVP update. We may have to go down to the daily. See what we're looking at, baby. Woo! All right, so you're gapping through the VRVP right now, up to likely this high volume node up at about 70 cents. It does make sense with its inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder target right there at about that 70 cents. You also have an area of previous resistance, and support. So this would be a key support resistance flip that Kava may be looking to get to on the 4 hour and on the daily, right? Get up here, you flip this into support, and that's what you'd be looking at for. This is what I would be looking at. I'd be looking for a moonshot up here, coming on down, maybe making some kind of consolidated flag and then mooning further. That's what I'd be looking at for Kava here, because you're likely going to get a massive reaction once you start getting into these really, really, really thin areas on the VRVP. That's what I'm seeing for Kava, baby. The biggest winner and the biggest loser on the day for crypto bubbles, baby. The crypto bubbles. All right, let's dive on in. Reviews. One story. Yeah, let's go in the story, man. IP story. Story, baby. I also did a video on story. Look at that consolidation, baby. Consolidation. We love to see it. Let's see it on the 4 hour. I am seeing that same deal as we saw for Kava. You have that shoulder. You have that head. And you have this longer but still valid right shoulder, right? That's what I'm looking at. You do have a pretty clear neckline here. That's what I'm looking at for a continuation to the upside on story. Story looks to go, baby. Story looks to go. And, there is an area where I would be a little cautious here on story. I would at least, if you're looking at taking a trade like this, I would at least look at taking a little bit of profit. And I know it's going to be tough. I know it's going to be tough for story because it'd be looking like it's going for that all-time high breakout, and it definitely could. But that target of the inverse head and shoulders matches up perfectly with that golden pocket. I would at least take some profit here and move your stop to break even. Protect yourself in the event you want to get into any kind of trade like this. A trade based off of this scenario right here would look something like this. So you can take a long, and I would look at the smaller time frames for a better entry with a stop below that low right here. Or you could take it a little more conservative and go below this low, the head. But I would, I would do right shoulder just because I like playing with a little better risk reward ratios. Going up to the 786 is a 5-to-1. That looks juicy, man. It looks juicy. You have the shoulder, head, right shoulder. The RSI looks like it has space sitting at fair value. You have the 4-hour stochastics curving back to the upside. It looks good for story here. I like what I'm seeing. I would just be very careful around this 618, 786 area. With that being said, you break this 618, 786 area, you can move up to your extensions and look at big targets for a story. I'm not being overly bullish or anything like that. We're looking at a 4-hour chart on a relatively new asset. This asset looks to me like it's consolidating, getting ready for its next leg up. That could come up to $13 and it can happen very quickly. And for those who think, oh, no way, it could do that, look at what it did here. It had a 362% pump in about 1 day and 16 hours. This asset can do it. Just be safe. Be safe whenever you're touching leverage like this. Be safe. Use good risk management. I would even, you know what I would do? I would use that 4-hour 200 SMA as a shield, man. We like using shields here on this channel. We go on over here, match it with price action. I would put this below the 4-hour 200 SMA, and that way you have another line of defense in the event price action turns against you. Again, that would still be a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio. Let's get this out of here and see what that would look like. That would look really good to the upside, man. You look to gap in the VRVP. You're gonna have you're gonna have a little bit of resistance here, you know, where you topped out before, and then you're gonna have the all-time high. But, you know, this would be the 618, 786 area. You do have resistance above you and areas where I don't know where people are going to start taking profits, right? But yeah, this looks like a good trade, man. It looks like a good trade setup. Do your own due diligence before making a trade. Again, not financial advice, but this is what I'd be looking at for story, baby, for story. Diving on into the chat, drop your questions, drop your chats. We're going to dive on in reviews once Solana, baby. Solana coming your way, reviews. I appreciate you dropping on into the chat, brother. Solana, let's dive on in. Sol on perpetuals, Binance. All right, let's get rid of some of our previous work here. We were looking at this a couple days ago, right? Speculating on that flag going to the upside, right? That wasn't a trade that we took, but that was a trade idea that we did put out. Would not have worked out, right? So let's look at this from a fresh set of eyes, baby. Fresh set of eyes. So, Solana, baby. Ooh, give me some challenging ones, baby. I like that. Okay, so Solana. Let's see what the RSI is looking at here. All right, Solana. I'm seeing the same daily bullish divergence on Solana as I'm seeing on a lot of other altcoins. We're getting that swing down in price action here while we have a swing up on the RSI. That daily bullish divergence does tell us that we are likely to crack this high here at about $180 before we crack this low at 111. That in and of itself represents a very nice risk reward trade setup, and you have a giant gap in the VRVP to support it all the way back up to test, yes, the 200 MA on the daily. Looks very good. That would be a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. That's a leverage trade idea. Cool. And that would be allow the daily bullish divergence to play out, and it would protect you from this high volume node. Take advantage of this gap here and test the daily 200 SMA. You guys know everything about me on this channel. When we get above that daily 200 SMA, we flip it to support and we can start going on a mooner, baby. And you know, and that's a little early to say for Solana, and it's early to say for all the altcoins, and it depends on Bitcoin sinking its heels in here and at least not dumping. Bitcoin needs to trade sideways for any of these setups to work out in this daily bull div to move to the upside. A lot of the big trades that we made on this account have been based off of daily bullish divergence moving to the upside, catching those reversals. When everybody's scared to buy, we take advantage of those 30-40% squeezes, and that could be something similar that we see here for Solana, baby. For Solana, that'd be a 40% squeeze to the upside. You have shorts in here all over, especially from this day when we had the tariff announcements. There's people with shorts in here, baby, and that gives you liquidity to the upside where you can definitely squeeze a lot of those shorts. And even if you have your take profit set, right? You have your take profit set, you're sleeping, and you get something like this. And it comes right back down, right? You get good news or you get some kind of short squeeze to the upside. You're in profit. You're done. You're out. You're out, baby. You're out. And then you know, we come back from once you came, and it is what it is. That was a great trade, a great setup. So that's what I'm looking at for Solana. I'm looking at for Solana to reverse here on the daily, and it needs to. It needs to. Why? You're sitting on a key area of support here that you arguably did break below, and now you're sitting right on Solana needs to hold here. This is like the line in the sand for Solana. You start cracking this, I'm telling you that this will be one of the most dangerous setups in crypto, right? When it comes to breaking any kind of support, because there's not a lot of price history down here. Look at these nodes. The most amount of Solana, you really got to get above that 143 level, the area where most Solana has traded, at this 143 level. You're already breaking below the high volume node, and you're just barely cusping to it, baby. You're just barely cusping to it. You're at risk of coming down to $100 and $135. And I know that's crazy. That's crazy. This is crypto. Anything can happen. Nobody thought Solana would ever come down to $14 when we were sitting at $238. I promise you that. I promise you that. So this gap in the VRVP does give me concern for Solana. And based off of that, it wouldn't be something I'd be touching on leverage right now. It could, this is where you have to put your sack on the table. If you're in Solana, be like, this is support is holding, baby. When people are most scared, it's got me scared enough to be like, I'm just not going to touch this, right? I'm just not going to touch it. I do hold Solana, I will say that, but I'm not going to be selling my Solana anytime soon. It's staked and everything. That's what I like. We're going to hold our Solana, baby. We're going to hold our Solana. We'll hold it for the ride down and back up. I mean, you may catch a reversal or something like that, but this is a dangerous area, right? You don't want to get accepted back into this range back here. And this, once you break below, this area is going to serve as resistance for Solana about right where we sit, about that 127 level. I want to see some nice, strong daily candle closes above where we are right now, preferably above $130, for me to feel like it would be acceptable for my risk reward to be able to take a trade, because we're just too close to the line, man. We're too close to the line in the sand. That's what I think. Just what off the charts are telling me. I know there's macro developments and everything, what the team's doing, and trying to get Solana back on the right track after this Trump-Melania meme coin disaster, which has lost trust in the Solana ecosystem. A lot of trust has been lost in the Solana ecosystem. There's no doubt about that, right? After Melania, Trump, meme coin launching on all of that, on that platform, people getting scared of Solana based off of that. I see a lot of that on X. Now, during times of maximum fear, that's where the maximum opportunity is going. But you're sitting on a line, man, where there's not a lot of price history. These gaps are really massive. Even if you gap down to the next one, you're looking at a 20% drop to the downside. There's just not a lot of support beneath those shields that I like to use when I'm trading. You don't have them here on Solana. So to me, it's a higher risk play right now, especially with this high volume node right above you. You do have that daily bullish divergence supporting you, so it could go either way. But that's just my analysis on Solana, man. Thank you for dropping that in. It could go either way for Solana. I can't ignore these gaps in the VRVP because to me, there's no buy orders down there. Without big nodes in the VRVP, you don't have historic evidence of buy volume in those areas. Of course, you did have buys, right? That's how you led up into this, this run up. But there weren't a lot to be able to move this price like this due to the amount of low liquidity. And those VRVPs those gaps in the VRVPs are there to support that. So I'd be looking for a drop to 102 if you can't hold these levels and get above this high volume node. It is pivotal that you get back above $143 for Solana and reclaim this daily 200 MA. We're below the daily 200 MA. I got to be a little bearish here. I get we're seeing the bullish divergence, and we're like that on a lot of altcoins. Right now, we're seeing that bullish divergence, but right now on Solana, those big gaps to the downside, baby, I just know that Solana, based on those gaps in the VRVP, is a lot higher risk than a lot of the other altcoins right now. I will say that. All right, diving on in. Let's see what we got. Hey, oh yeah, everybody, I do want to put this. I just got a text message, right? I'll be streaming next week with PMG, with Project Moon Gold Crypto, baby. We're teaming up, and we're going to be starting a channel, baby. I will get you guys that information on X, baby. It's going to be immaculate. I can't wait to join up with him, and we're going to be going over charts together. We're going to be taking on Crypto Banter, baby. Crypto Banter, we're coming, baby. We are going to get the hopium out of the space and bring the hottest setups in the game to you guys. I'm super excited to do that with you. We're going to be doing our first stream on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check it out on our channel, on my channel, or Project Moon Gold Cryptos. We're going to do, it's Crypto Profit Brothers. That's the channel we're going to be starting, and we're just opening it up right now on YouTube. Follow that channel. Get that subscribed. We're going to be jumping on in. I'm super hyped to dive on in with Josh, and we're going to have a great time doing it. We're going to be doing individual streams. We're going to be doing partner streams. We're going to be teaming up on Sunday and attacking this market for the upcoming week. I'm super excited to be doing that with Project Moon Gold Crypto. Shout out to you, Josh. Thank you, man. I'm really, really excited to partner up with you, and we're going to take on this market. We're going to take on crypto banter, baby, and we are coming for them. We are coming for them, baby. Woo! Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I did just get that announcement that we were going to launch on Sunday. I'm super excited, super excited. All right, diving on in. Yep, we went in the story. We want MetaDrip for Sin Nasty Kid. MetaDrip for Sin Nasty Kid, absolutely. Hey, shout out to you guys. I'm super excited to be streaming. I'll be streaming a lot, guys. I'll be streaming a lot. So you'll be seeing a lot more of me. It's going to be awesome. This channel is going to keep booming. We're going to keep going, streaming every night like we do, but we'll also be streaming on that channel as well, and it will be broadcasted to this channel as well. I'm not 100% sure how that works with YouTube and how it works, but we're going to dive into it. I'm super excited to be doing that with Josh and Project Moon Gold, teaming up with Boys Crypto, baby. It's going to be juicy. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to bring that to you guys. All right, MetaDrip, baby. MetaDrip. We're diving on in to MetaDrip coming back down. Look, this was one of the projects that we talked about being a potential 100 1000x, and I'm gonna stand by it. Why do I have to stand by? I'm not saying it's going to. I can't say that, right? But I'm saying, like, as a potential candidate, this is one. Why do I say that? Well, I like their white paper. We are coming down to this key support resistance area, and if you want a 100 or 1000x, these are the prices that you need to get in at these levels, because right, you come up here, you even get a 20-30% pump. That 100x to 1000x is off the table. You get up to here, double it up, your 100x turns into a 50x. You understand how that works? So, like, this is a $1 million market cap coin on Dex Screener, maybe a little below that right now, but that's the kind of market cap you need to get in on these markets if you want to stand even a chance at a 100x. These coins that are sitting in the $10 billion market cap are not going to 100x. Why? Because they would need a $1 trillion market cap. Very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. Could it happen? Sure, but the likelihood of that is next to nothing, especially the ones in the hundreds. Ethereum's not going to 100x. This cycle, XRP is not 100x, and I'm putting the trader stamp on it. Whatever we see in, in X and whatever, Dogecoin is not going to 100x. It's not going to happen. I don't want to be bearish on everybody. I'm not being bearish. I think those projects are going to absolutely moon, but you have to be realistic about price targets whenever you're looking at market cap coins. This coin can do it. It can. I'm not saying dive on in, right? Dive on in. Do your own due diligence. But if you wanted to take a shot at a 100x, this white paper looks really, really good. Coming down to a key support area, we need this key support area to hold. And 100 or 1000x, I will tell you guys this, that's the highest risk thing that you could do. But you're looking at a $1 million market cap. That is high risk, baby. But yeah, you're looking at a shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? To me, that's what I'm seeing. But we are on a key support line. Let's see if we can get a reversal here. You're not showing any major divergence as of right now. Let's see if this RSI could start to curve here, as we do have a little bit of a swing down in price action, while we will have a swing across in the RSI. Let's see if that could hold. But you're looking for this support to hold here. That's what I'm seeing for MetaDrip, baby. MetaDrip. I am super excited to dive on into MetaDrip and keep up to date with it and see if we can get this reversal to the upside. I will do a disclaimer. I do not have any of this asset, but I do think it is a potential 100 1000x candidate. The 1000x candidate, you got to be under a $10 million market cap. The odds of you getting a 100x or a 1000x above a $10 million market cap. Not to say you can't make money, but if you're looking for that 100 to 1000x, these are the market caps under 10 million that you're going to be needing to look at if you even want to have a shot at that kind of money, baby. That's what I'm looking at. MetaDrip for Sin Nasty Kid. Thanks for dropping that in, man. Thanks for dropping that in. All right, yeah, congrats. Hey, I appreciate you guys. PMG's a scammer. Good luck. Hey, man, look. PMG, I think he's a really good guy, and I like what he has to say. He reached out to me, direct messaged me. He talked about his vision for what he wants to see in a channel. I'm going into it with an open mind. He has a really good following, and I'm excited. I'm excited, man. I really, really am. So, I mean, you can have your opinions or whatever about the guy. I like the dude. I like him, and I'm gonna team up with him and see how it goes. If I don't like it, obviously I'm not gonna continue going forward with him, right? If something goes wrong, or we view things that much differently, but I'm willing to take a shot with somebody that that has a leg up in the crypto space. I'm super excited. I'm super excited. All right, yeah. Hey, listen, we're talking about Mandy Coin. Yeah, I did explicitly say that Unreal Designs that I'm not interested in getting into a project right now or any kind of crypto coin. That's not something I ever really envisioned myself doing ever because of the risk of that happening. I won't do that. I don't know what happened to that project. I'm not going to pretend like I do. I just don't know anything about creating a project or developing or releasing a project. Look, I'm not getting into anything like that with him, right? It's just not, we're just teaming up and doing technical analysis together, man. That's all we're going to be doing. I'm not going to be supporting any projects off the get-go. All right, so that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, that does suck, man. That does, the Mandy coin was awful. And I went over it on the channel. I was like, hey, I would look at the coin. I would say, hey, this is what I'm looking at from a technical analysis point of view. I thought it could do some damage. I really did. Just like everybody else that was watching watching his stuff and ended up getting absolutely annihilated, now down to absolutely nothing. So that just shows the dangers of getting into things that really low market cap. That could happen to MetaDrip. That can happen to anything. That can happen to literally any coin in crypto. This is a high risk space. But yeah, without knowing the insiders there, I don't know them. I don't know the developer. I don't know the team or anything like that, right? And whether that was BMG or not, I don't know. But what I'm saying is that I'm not getting behind any kind of crypto project with him, man. I'm just going to do some technical analysis with the dude I think has a good vision for the space. All right, here we go. I have over 3 million coins, all at profit. Hey, Sin Nasty Kid, heck yeah, man. That's awesome. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. That's why I get so fired up. April, exactly. That's why I get fired up so much about meme coins. And I'll preach that. I don't care if it's Mandy coin. I don't care if it's Doge. Okay, Dogecoin's a little different. It has that massive market cap to back it, right? And Elon Musk and all that kind of stuff. But any of these meme coins, look at Chill Guy, look at Melania, look at Libra, look at all these things that have absolutely robbed people of their capital. They will never rob us here on the Boys Crypto community. They will never ever rob us. And they will not rob us. They will not rob us whenever we team up. Like, that's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna endorse anything. I can't do it because I know the risk of that happening is so great, regardless of how you feel about a project or the fundamentals or anything behind it. When you launch something, it didn't have a lot of liquidity, man. It's tough. So yeah, I do respect. I understand everybody who got frustrated about Mandy. I'm not going into it about any kind of with any kind of project or money making in mind. I'm just there to do some tactical analysis. The thing that I love to do with somebody else who likes to do the same thing, and we'll see how it works out. It's a new thing for me, and I'm really excited to move forward. All right, diving on into the chat. Hey, congrats, Unreal or Sin Nasty Kid. Yep. Yeah, Mandy coin got too big too fast. Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened with it, man. I really don't. All right, diving on in the chat. That's what we got going on over everything, baby. That's what we got in the chat. Drop your coins, drop your altcoins. Look, regardless of how you guys feel, I'm super excited to team up with somebody else in the space. This channel is relatively small, especially compared to his, and we're gonna get that. We're gonna get some growth out of this and get our leg up in the space, and hopefully we could go on and take on banter. We bring the energy, we bring the passion to this space. That's the vision for the channel going on ahead, everybody. Something I did want to dive into. I did want to look at crypto fear and greed. Let's see where we're sitting at. So today, I know a lot of people had to get spooked. Woo! Diving on into the water, baby. Diving on into the water, keeping that uvula dry. Woo! Hey, honestly, Unreal Designs, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you diving on into the comments and giving me your exact thoughts. I appreciate you. There's not a lot of people that can do that or will do that, but I appreciate you giving your honest thoughts. I asked for feedback on the channel. I asked for trying to make it better. My videos, my streams, and everything. I appreciate you giving your feedback, man. I mean, that's what I need to hear from you guys, some of my early supporters, so I can be the best kind of influencer that I could possibly be. All right, fear and greed. Sitting at 31, we're sitting in the fear right now. It is what it is. Yesterday we were at 50. This thing has been like my gas meter on the Toyota Corolla. Whenever I'm revving it to get on the the interstate, we may have a little bit of a leak, but baby, this thing has been ping-ponging in this fear zone. This is the area in the fear, in the extreme fear, and the fear zones right before you get up in the neutral that have historically been great times to accumulate Bitcoin and your favorite projects. and your favorite projects. Let's see. Yes, yes, Sin Nasty Kid, great question. Yeah, I'm still gonna be streaming every single night, man. I'm still gonna be doing it. I'll be doing this channel every single night. Nothing changes about this channel. I'll be doing videos during the week and streaming at night at 9:30, baby, at 9:30 p.m. Central Time and 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be doing that every night. This channel is going with me, baby. This channel is going with me. All right, yeah, that's all right. Yeah, thank you for the question, Sin Nasty Kid. Yeah, to clarify, I am still streaming every single day at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for you guys, 9:30 Central every single night on this channel. We're gonna keep going with that, and this is my primary focus, is this channel, everybody. I'm just collaborating with somebody else in the space. I'm not leaving this channel or anything. This is my home, and this is where I'm gonna stay. And this channel will always be just me, being real with you guys and bringing you guys the charts how I see them. That's my vision for this channel, and to continue to grow in the crypto space, right? And to keep giving you guys, giving you guys trade setups, what I'm doing and everything. I just want to bring a community along and show you guys what's possible with crypto. And to me, I love doing it on my own. I love doing it on my own in the space. There's perks to doing it on my own, but there's also a leg up for the channel with working with somebody else. I'm super excited to do that. But yeah, thank you, Sin Nasty Kid, for the question, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, every single night, 9:30 p.m. East, or 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're still gonna be streaming on this channel, baby. We're still gonna be streaming on this channel. Shout out to everybody that just jumped on in. Appreciate you, reviews. Appreciate you. Anybody has any altcoins, any questions? We are kind of clear on chats now. Any altcoins, any questions that you guys want to go over, drop them on in the chat. We're gonna dive on in. Just went over MetaDrip. I will say this. This coin market cap's really cool. Whenever you're sorting by any of these, categories, like the AI spaces, I think is going to do really well. Wanda, back to that question you said earlier. I think the top categories, if you want to be going into anything here on coin market cap, you can sort by all these categories and different things, right? My top two, if I'm looking in the altcoins, I would have to say real world assets and AI. I know AI has been getting its nutsack kicked over and over and over again, but I think AI is going to make a massive rebound, and upon release of that tax-free, some of these overlap, right? On release on that tax-free announcement from the United States, if we are going to get that with cryptos based in the United States, this area, USA, baby, these coins are going to output the trader stamp on it. We get tax-free anything with any cryptos in this area right here, in the USA category. These assets will moon harder than any other asset. Why? Because you won't have to pay taxes when you sell them, baby. If you get that, the United States government backs it as such with tax-free assets. These are the assets that are going to absolutely spank the market. Everything. I wouldn't even be surprised to see a monumental monetary shift from stocks and everything into these assets, because you don't have to pay taxes on a higher risk asset. Whoo, that would be immaculate for the space. I would love to see it. How XRP, baby, XRP. Let's dive on into XRP. I appreciate your reviews diving on in. XRP, the XRP army. Shout out to you guys. Some of the most monumental gains in the space. Look, we had XRP in this triangle, right? I think it was on the 4 hour. Yeah, on the 4 hour, and we're still consolidating. Look, I get the news. I get that the case is over. I get it. The case ended. This is why we don't chase green candles. Here was the strategic reserve announcement right here. Retracement. Here was the announcement that what was it? The case got dropped. That was yesterday, right? Or Wednesday. Case got dropped. You had absolute moon, and you haven't gone up since then. It is what it is. Look, I think XRP could absolutely moon. I really do. I'm realistic when it comes to the price targets. I really am. I think XRP could hit $5 to $8 this cycle. I really do. That's just based off of the 1.618 and the 2.618 extensions, baby. Could you get up that $10 region? It's possible. I think it's unlikely. I really do think it's unlikely. In order for that to happen, you would have to have over a $1 trillion market cap, and I don't think that's even gonna happen for. It might happen to Ethereum, maybe. I don't know. And that's just all speculation, right? And you have to keep in mind, and just like any kind of coin, I'm speculative of anything. I'm speculative of anything that where somebody owns a majority of the supply. Bitcoin's the only thing where a lot of the supply isn't held by anybody, right? You go, oh, Michael Saylor owns like 1%, or the U.S. government wants to hold 5%. That's 5%. XRP, somebody owns 40%, right? And that's the Ledger wallet itself. And you know, I'm bullish on this asset. I think it's going up, but they sell on everybody every single month. They owe nobody anything. They don't owe you anything in return for selling you that XRP. They just convert that to cash. That's their business model. They're not profitable without their XRP sales every single month. It's the reality. It just is, right? And that's how I feel about XRP. So I think, you know, in the macro, I think this thing's going to do well, but those $100 to $1,000 price targets, absolutely, they tilt me. They tell me because I know it's going to hurt the majority of Americans. I really do. I think it's going to hurt the majority of people in the long run, because anybody banking on that $100, $1,000 price target, could it happen? Yeah, maybe in 20 years. Sure. Yeah, maybe it does. Maybe it does. I have no idea. But yeah, XRP, baby. I know the armies out there and are saying some pretty ridiculous price targets. But I'm telling you guys, like, there's so many gaps in the VRVP below, right? If we zoom on out here, these areas have never been tested. I'm looking at it from a technical analysis point of view, right? From a technical analysis point of view, you haven't tested here. You haven't tested this area. Look at the volume. There's no sell volume in here, right? This was an absolute massive short squeeze to the upside. These areas have never been tested. It's just my opinion. Just like we talked about, I forget what other asset we were looking at where it had massive gaps in the VRVP below. We talked about that earlier, and it's the same exact thing. Solana. We talked about Solana. Solana, the same exact deal. Giant gaps in the VRVP. For XRP, I just see higher risk than everything else. I do. And it's been one of the strongest coins in the game, but that's what the charts are saying, and I can't ignore what the charts are saying. If I just went based off of news, anybody who just went based off of news in this XRP space and longed, wrecked. You know, this announcement, if you got in at this announcement that, hey, the lawsuit's over, wrecked. You're already trading, you know. I'm not saying it's going down. I'm not. I'm saying that I'm just trading consolidation here. Now, if we get a breakout, I'm gonna long XRP. I will. I'll long XRP on a breakout here. You're above the 4-hour 200 SMA. You get that as support. Where's my 21, baby? Where's my 21? 21. Yeah. So if we get a breakout here, 21 comes up across, and I get that retest, all along XRP to the upside, baby. I think XRP can do some massive damage this cycle. I really can. I just like being realistic. I just like being realistic with price targets, right? I just like being realistic with price targets. I do. Like the amount of retail that's in this thing, when fear starts to hit, we will go into a bear market for every asset, and everything's going to follow Bitcoin. If Bitcoin tumbles, so will XRP, and I'll put my trader stamp on that. That's what it's always been like, and it always will be. So like the fact that there could be a decoupling, it could be, but does that ever happen? No, not really. Even when Bitcoin was struggling, when Bitcoin was down 5%, XRP would go down, right? Maybe 1%, but when Bitcoin went up 1%, XRP may have gone up 30%. If you go back into this meteoric run, you could see that happening, right? Even though you had massive runs, the days Bitcoin struggled, XRP also struggled. So I don't know. It's just something that's interesting. But with that being said, has been the strongest coin in the game, baby. It really has. It really has. How many altcoins are up 5x from November? None. Not hardly any. Maybe HBAR, XLM, XCN, some of those have been gone on absolute moonshots. Mantra DAO network. But this is my trading plan for XRP. And I know nobody wants, like, this is my long and my short scenario, and this is not a, hey, I'm getting in now or whatever. I'm waiting on my hands. I'll sit on my hands, baby. I'll sit on my hands and wait for the golden opportunity. Why? Because this is how I trade. This is how I trade. The same deal, long/short. We're going to pull this out over the side. This is my trading scenario. We break above this 200 MA right here, or you can move this, move this to here, stop above the pattern, or above the 4-hour 200 MA, which I'll use as my shield. We dump here, we get below, and this is just if we dump. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I know how to trade it. We get that retest. I'll take that to the downside, baby, for a juicy 4-to-1 risk-reward ratio. You know what I like about a dump here on XRP? No one would suspect it. No one would suspect it, right? Institutional adoption and everything, but these gaps in the VRVP are saying there's zero buying pressure down here. Zero. You gap down so massively here, you know, you almost came up to the next high volume node. But look at this drop in the VRVP. That's all I need. That's all I need, baby. All I would need is something like that. Take profit, back up. At that point, I'm out of the trade, right? At that point, I'm out of the trade. So that's my trade plan for XRP is if we do break to the downside, we get a bearish retest. I'll take the short, baby. Move this to the side. We get a bullish retest. We break out. We break out, baby, and we come down, bullish retest. I'll take that to the moon, baby. I'll take that all the way up to $3.44. I don't care what way XRP is going to go, but I know how to make money off of this. I know how to make money off this. I know how to make high quality trade setups. And that, to me, in my mind, is what the smartest traders out there are doing, sitting on their hands for XRP. Right now, you're sitting at a high volume. No, you are sitting, what do we say on this channel for XRP over and over and over again? I said on this channel for XRP, I'm bullish above 241, right? We're at 242. We're at 242, sitting on the highest volume node, the area where the most amount of XRP has exchanged hands. That means there's equal buyers and equal sellers at these prices, as proof by the high volume node. This is a massive peak right here. And this is fair value to XRP as far as the market makers are saying. And there's equal buys and equal sells in this zone. There's so much XRP trading hands right here. You flip this into support, you got above. You're currently flipping into support. You get a reversal right here, and you get above that flag, and you get a retest. I'll take this gap in the VRVP all the way up to that 320 region, 310 region. I'll take that trade. But if we fall below here, we talk about it being a ball rolling down the hill, and this is why it's so high risk to me, right? I'm not saying I'm bearish on XRP because of fundamentals. I'm saying the charts. I'm just saying the charts. Look at that gap in the VRVP coming all the way down here to $1.49. No one wants to think that can happen for XRP, but I'll be the first one to tell you on this channel that it can happen. If Bitcoin loses its footing, XRP will be one of the hardest things to fall if we do enter into a bear market. Why? Because we talk about it all the time on crypto bubbles. The biggest green is often the biggest red / not red at all, or the biggest green one day is often the biggest red the next, right? Just because people rearrange money all the time. When people are running back into cash, where's the most amount of cash? In XRP, an asset that has ran up 5x, and there's so many people in profit here. I don't blame anybody for taking profits. That's just my opinion, man. That's just my opinion. I'm neutral on XRP right now. I have to be neutral because I'm sitting right on that line where I said I'd be bullish versus bearish. And I said that every day, I think, on XRP. And that much love, man. I hope this asset goes to the moon. For the people who got into XRP, congratulations, congratulations. But I am a trader that acknowledges downside risk to any asset, regardless of fundamentals. Regardless of fundamentals, I acknowledge the down. Bitcoin fell from 60,000 to 15,000. The greatest asset, right, fell, 66%. And that's Bitcoin. This is still an altcoin. Maybe the #1 altcoin soon. May replace Ethereum. Who knows? But this is just an area of high risk for me, so I'm choosing to stay. I'm off the table, right? And people will average in up here. People will be averaging in up here, but like people will average in and be like, oh, I'm averaging in, and then we get that dump, baby. Oh my gosh, like I get holding from 50 cents, at least taking some off the table and letting it ride. Let it ride. That's how I would have traded XRP if I had a giant moon bag in from down here. I would have taken at least 20%. Why would I have taken 20%? Because I would have taken out all my initial cash. All my initial cash I would have taken out, and I would have let the rest ride. That would have been my plan, my trading plan. I would have had take profits in place. I would, hey, I'm gonna take 20 at 4. I'm gonna take 20 at 4. Whoop whoop whoop. I'm gonna take 20% at 4, 20% at 5.15, 20% at 6. You could do that, and you have to average out like when you're averaging in going down, right? Because eventually, if you're looking at the weekly, it's not gonna do this. I promise you. I'll put the trader stamp on. It's not gonna do this. It's not gonna do that, right? You want to get to for the people who think XRP is going to $100. Let's zoom on out here. Let's zoom on out. $100, $100, baby. Does this make sense? That would not make sense. The chart, there's never been a chart like that in history. No, that would not make sense, right? Even going to 2029, what? Based on price history? No. Okay, I'm not ranting about XRP, but I'm just putting the I'm putting the notion out there that this is a high risk asset right now based on the VRVP and where we stand currently in the trading range. Can it break higher? Yes, but because of the gaps, just like Solana, because of the gaps in the VRVP, I have to be cautious. I have to be cautious. It's just me as a trader being a trader. You got to understand that. You got to understand. All right, here we go. XRP strong. It's strongest coin in the game right now. I acknowledge that. It has been a miraculous run for XRP regardless. Even if you got out here 242, you're at a 5x from just a couple of months ago. Congratulations to the XRP army. All right, yeah, I will get a heart attack if it gets to $10. Yeah, man. Hey, it could happen. It could happen, right? Those are, based off the Fibonacci extension targets right here. If you're going from, swing high, we'll take the fib retracement right here from the low to the high. Whoop, 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 from the high to low. Whoops. High to low. We were drawing so many bullish fibs today. From the high to low, you get your fib extension targets, and you can come on up here if you break the next high based off of where you went from the prior low, right? Sitting at about 48 cents, roundabout, right? You're looking at that $5 to $8 level, maybe even up here to 11 or 12. I rarely ever see these get hit in crypto, ever. The 3.618 and the 4.236, very rarely, 1 out of 1,000, right? So I would be looking at traders to take profits on XRP if we do get that run up at that 521 level and that 813 level. If we get there, I'm more of like the $5 to $8 in here. This is to me the key exit area on XRP if we do get that moonshot. And people will be, oh, I'm diamond hands, I'm holding to the ground. How did that work out back in 2017 when you went to $3? How did it feel coming all the way back down to nothing? Like that's the reality, right? There will be a bear market. Anybody who doesn't acknowledge that there's a bear market in this space is going to get absolutely destroyed. And I'm trying to, my view, I'm just trying to protect everybody from that on this channel. It's a positive environment. And I'm sorry if I get a little worked up about XRP. The reason I get worked up about XRP is because there's so many people I know in my life that I just want to protect from this. And a lot of people just won't listen. They'll never. My own family doesn't listen about this asset, but at least de-risking, taking a little profit. They don't understand what take profit means. That's what retail does. Retail doesn't understand what taking profit is in this market. And if any of you guys have been in this market long enough, you know that if you don't take profit, you're going to get wrecked. You will get wrecked like nobody else, especially if you're averaging in up here and you're a diamond hander. I think seeing these areas will be tested again for XRP, I believe. Maybe in the bear market, maybe not now, but in the bear market, oh yeah, when we start having that capitulation, may come back down to $1. Oh no, that'll never happen for XRP, but it could happen. It could happen, right? So that's why I get a little heated about XRP, because I know there's people that have made a metric butt ton of money that will lose it all. That will lose it all, baby. That's my deal with XRP. All right, diving on in, everybody. Diving on in. Hey, reviews, I appreciate you with you. Yep. Heck yeah. Heart attack at $10. Oh yeah. Yeah, everybody. Hey, XRP. You could argue that these are good prices for XRP depending on your outlook. But yeah, man, that's just what I'm seeing. And you know what's crazy about Total 3? Total 3, you have to acknowledge that XRP has taken over this chart. Why? Because XRP has added $100 billion to its market cap. Without XRP, this chart would be down here in the 700s, below our at the low point of our box of remembrance. XRP is single-handedly this move up. A lot of altcoins think of that move up because of the injection of money in the XRP. That's a true statement. That is a very, very true statement. And XRP has hardly fallen at all. This chart has fallen because a lot of other altcoins have taken a lot more punishment than XRP. XRP has been holding a lot of weight in this chart, especially as it has creeped into the number 3 spot on coin market. Is it number 3? It is number 3, isn't it? I thought it was number 3. It was for a time, it's got to be close. Oh yeah, within $2 billion. It was, I think yesterday, above Tether. All right, baby. Yeah, so neck and neck with Tether, looking to come up and take on Ethereum. Let's see if it happens. I think it could definitely happen. If you do get a double up on XRP and Ethereum continues to struggle, it'll take over Ethereum. It definitely will. So we'll see. We'll have to see how that pans out. So what are we looking for in this upcoming weekend? This weekend's going to be volatile. It will. Friday, even less liquidity in the market, right? People are selling things off, waiting to see if there's any more news on tariffs, anything like that. Next week, economic news. Economic news, baby. We do have some economic news next week that we got to keep on our radar, right? I don't think we don't see Jerome Powell again for another month, but we had tomorrow, nothing tomorrow on the 21st. That's good, right? That's good news. So we won't be seeing any of that whipsaw action that we've been seeing all week. Ridiculous. If you go to any news event, look at 9:30 on the news event and look at what the 1 minute candle looks like. That's so fun to look at. It's impossible to trade. We got, Flash PMI. I think that's going to be a nothing burger. What else? We got consumer confidence. Let's see if this come in a little higher. Hopefully, durable goods. No, this is a big one. Industrial jobless claims. GDP coming in. That looks good. Thursday looking like the bigger day. Pending home sales. Okay, that can move the market a little bit. Personally, this Thursday and Friday will be the big news drivers of next week. We're going to be able to see how many initial jobless claims. That's important, right? You want that to come in based on what the Fed said about chilling out on quantitative tightening. if we get bad news, which means more initial jobless claims, that might incentivize the Fed to turn on that money printer, baby. So in a way, we want to see bad news, right? It's kind of bad, but that's what you need when you want to have a quantitative easing environment. Back down here to personal income, baby. We're going to see how much people are bringing in versus how much they're spending. These estimates will move the market, very, very likely. Core PCE, nothing burger. I think personal income and initial jobless claims on Thursday and Friday are what we need to be looking at this upcoming week. Super important for us to keep on the radar, because as the week progresses, these events, good, bad news on these events here, the initial jobless claims, personal income, and personal spending can get absolutely wrecked. In the chart. You could see those massive candles again like we did this week, all throughout this week. Wasn't it a crazy week? The Fed day, we just had Donald Trump speaking today with Brad Garlinghouse. Another perfect example of sell the news. If you're a smart trader, if I will say this, if you have a good mind on you when it comes to trading, and this is something I've learned, and I've learned it, and it's been so painful, but I want to share this with you guys. News and FUD. The market responds to rumors of news. Rumors are the driver of, right? The rumors of tariffs, things like that were what massively moved the market, right? When you got the execution, it really doesn't do as much. It just serves as areas of low liquidity where whales could take advantage. That's why whenever we get these, Donald Trump spoke today. Why was it a red day? Weren't they speaking positively about crypto? Because the whales knew. Yesterday, we had the rumor of Donald Trump speaking, right, from some of the tweets from the senator. We got some bullish price action. And then we had Donald Trump actually speaking in the dump. So buy the rumors, sell the news is a phrase you'll hear in trading over and over and over again. It is something that everybody needs to keep on their radar so that you don't get absolutely wrecked. How do you get wrecked? Is unknowingly not looking at these economic calendars, not seeing these events coming on up. You open up a trade at 8:30 a.m., right, Eastern Standard Time. You open up your trade at 8:25. You're like, wow, we just crossed the 200 MA on the 5. It looks really good. I got my stop below the low. And then you're like, what? What is that candle? Right? That's personal income coming in and the market responding. So it's important to keep these news events on your radar so that you don't get absolutely colossally wrecked. You don't want to get wrecked at those times of the day, right? And they have all the times here. They're all in Eastern Standard Time here, and things that can move the market, right? Especially if they come away, if data comes in at the actual very, very different than the forecast, which will update this weekend. So that's what I'm looking at for this upcoming week. Hey, I thank each and every single one of you for diving on in with us today, baby. Diving on in with us today. We comb through the market. We comb through altcoins. We go through commodities. We hit through all the questions, all the chats. I appreciate you. Hopefully my chat's working. Last one I see is from reviews. It's so strong for XRP to invest in it. Yeah. That's where I'm looking at. That's the last chat that I got, everybody. Hey, shout out to everyone diving on in. I appreciate each and every one of you spending your time with me tonight here on this Thursday. Let's get ready for Friday. Stick with me on X and see what kind of trades we're opening up in. This short is struggling, baby. It's struggling. Come on, 5-minute 200 MA. Hold us down, baby. Hold us down. We break and close the candle body above that. I'm likely going to cut off this trade. So that's what I'm looking at. Follow me on X to see what I'm doing. We're going to keep building this account. Current account balance at $9,317. We're slowly climbing that 10K. Baby, and we're going to take this to 10K and beyond, everybody. Shout out to us. We've doubled an account, almost doubled an account in about 45 days. That's a super huge accomplishment for anyone who's been sticking with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you guys tomorrow on the live. Until then, Boys Crypto is out, baby. We are out. Enjoy your night. Thank you for tuning in with me.